So picture yourself in a coffee house. The smells, the atmosphere, everything's perfect and relaxing. You then hear your name called and you go up to the counter to pick up your cup of coffee, only to see that your name is spelled on it just in a way that you could have never even imagined. You might be in a similar situation as Karkir or Mark with a C, and you're probably in a Starbucks. So Starbucks is one of the most powerful companies in the world, and it's also one of the most well-known coffee companies across the globe. I've been drinking Starbucks since I was about right after I graduated high school, and ever since then, ever since I tried Starbucks, I've been kind of a coffee snob. I can drink other coffees, but I really kind of prefer to drink Starbucks. So in this speech, I'm going to talk about the origin of Starbucks, or kind of how it was founded, how it's expanded, and also how it's been a cultural icon in our society. So to start, according to an academic journal, Starbucks opened in Seattle in 1971 and was started by these three guys, Gordon Bowker, Jerry Baldwin, and Zev Siegel. So it was initially just a single store. It had some of the world's finest whole coffee beans, and eventually they opened to 2 stores. It did very well, but the founders just never really had an idea for how big the company could actually grow, and it never really actually found its identity until about the 1980s. So after Starbucks was founded, it expanded initially, but not too much at first. By 1980, there were only 4 retail stores. So at the time, there were very few prominent coffee places, coffee houses. It just wasn't really something that was very popular here in the United States. In a book that talks about Starbucks, talks about Howard Schultz, who was the longtime CEO. He kind of stumbled across Starbucks, and he was immediately captivated by the company. And he said he felt it was his destiny to buy Starbucks. So he had actually saw the company. He went over to Milan, Italy, and he kind of went over through some of the espresso bars there and kind of saw how they did things, how coffee houses over there were more of an experience than just somewhere that you could go to drink coffee. So this led him to then, in 1987, he purchased Starbucks and renamed it Starbucks Corporation, and kind of wanted to recreate the idea over in Italy, over here in the United States. So by 1992, just 5 years after he purchased the company, Starbucks opened 165 stores on the West Coast. So Schultz had only projected 125 by that point. He clearly exceeded expectations. It was growing very rapidly. In 5 years, it had gone from 4 stores to 165. Also, the first day that it went public, Starbucks stock jumped over $4, which is kind of crazy. The company was just expanding beyond what anybody could possibly imagine. In 1996, it went international for the first time, opening their first store in Japan. And after that, they clearly opened and went more international, and are now in a lot of these countries that are listed, including countries like the UK, Turkey, France, and actually, as of last year, they just opened their first store in Italy, which is kind of crazy. So it's doing pretty well. Kind of some controversy over it because of how they treat their coffee over there, but so far so good. So not only that, but they also expanded their product line. They started to add things like frappuccinos, breakfast sandwiches, things of that nature. The company was just growing beyond what they could possibly imagine. By 2008, there were 16,000 Starbucks worldwide. By 2013, there were 18,000 with a market valuation of over $43 billion. And now in today's society, there is over 29,000 Starbucks, over 14,000 in the US and over 14,000 worldwide. So Starbucks expanded very greatly. It's also been quite a cultural icon in our society today. So ever since the beginning, it set out to be different. So on its website, it talks about how Starbucks was not just a passionate purveyor of coffee, but they're everything else that goes with a full rewarding coffee house experience. So it set itself apart in ways more than just experience and sales figures. According to a section in this encyclopedia, it talks about how Starbucks provides things for their employees like medical insurance, dental insurance, visual insurance, 401k plans, stock options, things like that. Not only that, but they're just a great experience. You know, it's more than just going to get coffee. If you walk into a Starbucks, you'll see something like this, where you'll see kids studying, college students studying, people meeting with friends, business partners, people just hanging out and listening to music. It's just something what they set out to be, which was that place between home and work or home and school, where people would just go to hang out and get stuff done. So Starbucks also has been very active in the community, and they've kind of embraced corporate responsibility. They've done things like sell fair trade coffee, and even started using higher percentages of recycled material in their units cups. So, in conclusion, Starbucks, as you've seen how it was founded, how it's expanded, and how it's become kind of a cultural icon in our society. Now you kind of have a background on the company that dominates the coffee market, and you kind of know what you're investing in when you're purchasing a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So, all this talk about Starbucks has really got me hungry for a grande mocha. Anybody want to go to Starbucks?